If you stop masturbating as you get older, your body doesn't just get quieter. It actually begins to shut down functions you still need to live well. Today, we're going to talk openly about what really happens when you stop masturbating in your later years. Not myths, not locker room talk, but real, measurable changes that affect your prostate, your brain chemistry, your sleep, and even your mood. These are things I've seen again and again in my patients over 30 years. The good news? Most of those changes are reversible. Stay with me until the end, because the last point might explain why some people age twice as fast as others. I'm Dr. Eli Morgan, a physician who spent decades helping older adults protect their strength, clarity, and confidence as they age. Let's talk honestly, because understanding your body is one of the most powerful medicines you'll ever have. Why sexual self-care matters after 60. After 60, many people quietly stop masturbating, not because they choose to, but because they start believing it's no longer necessary. That's a dangerous myth. The truth is, regular sexual self-stimulation keeps several key systems active. Blood flow to the pelvic organs, release of dopamine and oxytocin that sharpen mental focus, and hormonal signals that support bone density and immune balance. In clinical studies, men and women who maintain some level of self-pleasure have lower rates of depression and better cardiovascular health. It's not about chasing orgasm. It's about keeping the machinery alive. When those signals go silent, circulation slows, muscles weaken, and your brain begins to interpret the body as no longer needed. I call it the quiet retirement of the body, and it happens far sooner than you think. So let's look at the 7 specific ways this shutdown begins. Consequence number 1, prostate and urinary function. The first system to feel the impact is the prostate. When a man stops masturbating, that gland no longer gets its natural flush of circulation and muscle contractions. Over time, fluid builds up, tissues stiffen, and inflammation takes root. This can lead to the most common complaint I hear in older men: weak stream, constant urge to urinate, or the feeling of never fully emptying the bladder. Some men end up on lifelong medication, and others eventually face procedures that could have been avoided. Think of it like any muscle that never moves. It loses tone, becomes sluggish, and stops responding. Regular ejaculation, whether through masturbation or sex, keeps that system functioning like it was designed to. Ignore it for too long, and the body treats the area as obsolete, with all the discomfort that follows. Consequence number 2. Brain chemistry and focus. The second system that quietly declines is your brain. Sexual release, especially through masturbation, triggers small but critical bursts of dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals that keep your motivation, curiosity, and mental clarity alive. When that cycle stops, people often describe their days as foggy, flat, or on autopilot. I've seen patients who thought they were developing early dementia, when in reality, their neurochemistry had simply gone idle. The brain doesn't just age from time, it ages from disuse. Without regular peaks and recoveries, dopamine receptors grow dull, and your emotional range narrows. It's not about craving constant stimulation. It's about maintaining the brain's natural rhythm of reward and rest. Keeping that rhythm active even through solo sexual activity helps preserve mental energy, creativity, and a sense of purpose that no pill can replace. Consequence number 3, mood and emotional health. The third consequence is emotional, and it's often the most invisible. When masturbation stops, the body loses one of its quiet regulators of mood, the endorphin and oxytocin surge that follows orgasm. Those hormones don't just make you feel pleasure. They help your brain reset stress and reconnect to a sense of calm. Without that periodic release, stress hormones like cortisol remain elevated. Over months or years, that can translate into anxiety, irritability, or a flat kind of sadness that no one can quite name. I've seen older adults describe it as just existing, moving through the day without warmth or spark. It isn't weakness, it's chemistry. A simple private act that once balanced your nervous system has gone missing, leaving the emotional gears to grind dry. And when that happens, even joy starts to feel like effort. Consequence number 4, sleep and recovery. The fourth system that begins to break down is sleep. Orgasm releases a coordinated wave of oxytocin, prolactin, and endorphins. The same cocktail that tells the brain, you're safe. You can rest now. Without those signals, the body struggles to transition into deep restorative sleep. You might fall asleep, but you wake up restless, your mind looping through worries, your body never fully relaxed. Over time, this fragments your REM cycles, weakens memory formation, and leaves you tired even after 8 hours in bed. One study found that older adults who maintained healthy sexual activity reported 30% fewer insomnia complaints than those who stopped entirely. And it makes sense. Your body was built to pair release with recovery. Without that rhythm, nights turn shallow, and the fatigue quietly steals away your energy for life. Consequence number 5, pelvic floor and circulation. The fifth consequence is mechanical. It's about circulation and muscle tone. Every time you masturbate or have sex, your pelvic floor contracts rhythmically, like a small workout for the muscles that support your bladder, bowel, and sexual organs. When that movement disappears, blood flow drops, tissues lose elasticity, and those same muscles begin to atrophy. Over time, that translates into weaker erections, slower arousal, and even problems with balance or lower back stability. Because all of it connects through the same muscular network. I often tell my patients, the pelvic floor is like a deep foundation. You can't see it, but when it weakens, the whole structure above it suffers. Masturbation isn't a substitute for exercise, but it's a missing piece of physical maintenance. Ignore it long enough, and your body literally forgets how to respond. Consequence number 6, an immune function and inflammation. The sixth consequence hides deeper in the body. Your immune system. Regular ejaculation triggers a subtle rise in immunoglobulin A, one of the key antibodies that guards your respiratory and digestive tract. It also lowers chronic inflammatory markers that, when left unchecked, contribute to arthritis, heart disease, and cognitive decline. When you stop masturbating altogether, those protective waves disappear. The body stays in low-grade alert mode, releasing more cortisol, tightening blood vessels, and dulling your ability to fight off infection. You might notice you catch colds more easily, or that small injuries take longer to heal. It's not superstition, it's physiology. The same cascade that helps you relax after release also resets immune balance. Without it, inflammation becomes the background noise of aging, quietly speeding up every other system's decline. Consequence number 7, identity, confidence, and self-worth. The seventh consequence isn't in the body, it's in the mirror. When people stop touching themselves, they often stop relating to themselves. Over time, the body begins to feel like an object you manage, not a part of who you are. I've sat with patients who said, I don't even recognize myself anymore. That disconnect breeds shame, stiffness, and a subtle withdrawal from intimacy of any kind, not just sexual, but emotional. Masturbation at its healthiest isn't about lust or habit. It's about maintaining ownership of your body, reminding your brain, this is still mine, still alive, still worthy of care. And when that connection fades, so does confidence. Reclaiming that ritual, even privately, often reignites a sense of identity that medicine alone can't restore, because self-respect starts with self-contact. Action steps, how to restart safely and naturally. Now that you understand what's at stake, let's talk about how to rebuild that connection safely. First, go slow. If it's been months or years, your body might respond differently at first. That's normal. Focus on sensation, not performance. Second, set a routine. Even once or twice a week can reactivate blood flow, hormone balance, and confidence. Make it part of your self-care, just like brushing your teeth or stretching in the morning. Third, involve movement. Gentle pelvic exercises, breathing, or a short walk afterward help the circulatory and nervous systems reset more effectively. And finally, if you notice discomfort, pain, or emotional resistance, talk to a doctor. These aren't signs of weakness. They're signals that your body is ready for attention. Masturbation in later life isn't indulgence. It's maintenance. And your health deserves maintenance. I know this topic can feel uncomfortable, especially if you grew up in a time when masturbation was treated as something shameful or childish. But the truth is, your body doesn't stop needing care just because society stopped talking about it. Touching yourself, staying sexually active, and maintaining that private connection are all parts of healthy aging. As essential as nutrition, sleep, and movement. You don't owe anyone silence about your own biology. So if you've gone months or years without self-pleasure, start again. Gently, curiously, without judgment. Your body will respond. It remembers. And if this video gave you clarity or courage, hit that like button, share it with someone who might need it, and leave a comment saying, "I've started." Because the moment you do, you're not just reclaiming pleasure, you're reclaiming ownership of your life.